To start off the Vada Bracelet's big spring festival event, Bandai have given us both a big BE firmware update as well as an update for the app. There is also a battle event going on at the moment, but judging by the way the previous battle events have gone, I'm not too hopeful that this will be anything different. The way that previous battle events have gone is that the user gets 10 battles to complete against real-life people. However, the previous event, 5 out of 10 of those events ended up just crashing. So I only got 5 battles in rather than 10, and because they crashed or the battle just didn't load in, it counts as a loss. So the previous battle events haven't gone fantastically, so I'm not too optimistic for them. These events do go for 24 hours, so it started a few hours ago, and as of releasing this video, it'll still be on for a few more hours, so if you're watching this and the video just came out, there is still a battle event going on, but again, I'm not too hopeful that it'll actually let you carry out all the battles that it allows you to complete. But anyway, let's go over this new update. Before I do want to mention a few bugs that have been going on in the app. One that I have released a short on previously, and that is the check error, check spelt with an A in the middle, funnily enough. And this error appears whenever you transfer too many characters or too many Digimon at once, and it just kicks you out of the app. The fix was to reinstall it. However, it seems that 50% of the time, if you reinstall it, it doesn't let you do a data transfer with your linked Bandai ID. So this went on for about a week. I uninstalled it and I lost all my characters because it wouldn't let me data transfer. But then randomly, a week later, it allowed me to do the data transfer with the linked Bandai ID. So presumably this has been fixed. In the bug notes for the update, they did mention issues relating to logging in. However, that brings me to a current bug which a lot of people have been experiencing, and that is that they just can't get into the app. It just has the now loading whirly forever as soon as they open the app. There is a fix for this. It appears to be related to connection, and the easiest way to fix it is to just, if you're connected to Wi-Fi, change over to cellular data. If you're connected to cellular data, to connect to Wi-Fi. That seems to fix it most of the time. In the other cases, you can still fix it by changing the DNS settings on your phone to Cloudflare, so 1.1.1.1, or Google, which is 8.8.8.8. Every phone is different, so there are different ways to change this depending on the phone. It's usually under the cellular settings, but you can probably find a guide about how to change the DNS settings on your phone by Googling your phone model and DNS settings. So that's what I recommend if connecting or disconnecting to Wi-Fi doesn't work for that fix. But it appears to be a very frequent bug, especially with the most recent update for the Vada Bracelet Arena. In any case, let's go on with what actually has been added intentionally that isn't just a bug. So, first of all, we do have the new firmware update, which is pretty exciting. If you're not sure about how to update your firmware, I did release a video a few months ago with the first firmware update that goes over the process. The Vada Bracelet website itself does outline this process, but if you work better with videos, I did go over this just a few months ago. So I use the same micro SD card as I used for the previous update, so if you still have that micro SD card around that you used for the last update, you can use the existing one, which is cool. So I do appreciate that you can just update the firmware with just a micro SD card. I am a big fan of that. It means that a lot of things can be fixed on the Vada Bracelet or improved, especially with things that I have issues with previously. In terms of what this update has for the firmware, is that it changes the text color in the requirement screen to show you what conditions you've already met, which is pretty handy, And it also adds a new feature where you can get items from NFC battles. There are various different types of items, some that increase how many vital points you get per win in battle, others that increase how many BP, for example, that you get from dashing or whatever exercise for whatever stat, which is very handy if you do want to max out your mons or characters on their stats, so that is pretty handy. Though it's a pretty nice update. It doesn't have that much. It makes it easier to change your support Digimon / character. You don't just hold down the top button anymore. You when you're changing the character, it actually says you can actually select to change it as the support or the main. So that's pretty handy. It makes it a little bit more self-explanatory. I kind of had to do guesswork to work out how to change the support character before this update, so that's pretty cool. But that's it in terms of the firmware update. It does a lot more than the first firmware update did, and of course these updates are free, which is great. It makes it feel like there's a bit more life to the BE than it did for the Vital Bracelet. However, I still have that build issue with the button, which hasn't quite died yet, but it is on its way out, and that's one that I've mentioned in a previous video about what's actually wrong with the Vital Bracelet BE. Now let's go on to the updates for the app that aren't bugs. So again, this is part of the Spring Festival event, so that's pretty cool. And the main update for the app is that adventure mode has been added, which is where you can send out mons to go on adventures and collect items for use in the app. It's a cute feature, and it's nice to see more ways to get items, and of course the addition of items in general. I was really missing how easy it was to get items on the original app, and there was just no way to get items outside of battle events, which, as I mentioned previously, don't always work fantastically. The missions also make your Digimon that live in the app feel more useful. If you're not using them for battle, they kind of just sit there, so it's nice that you actually give them purpose. However, I noticed a weird thing when you go to send them out. There's a little bit of a delay, and it doesn't give you like a loading screen, but it doesn't lock the screen either. So it looks like that nothing has happened after you click depart. And that kind of threw me off for the first time. Like, did I close out of it? And then it lets me choose the Digimon again, but then it pops up like, oh, they're out. So it feels like they needed to lock that screen down with just a whirly or something along those lines. That was just something that felt off about the process, but otherwise it's pretty cool. You select how long you want them to go on adventure for, and when they come back, they bring back items. It is for all the characters. I thought it was originally just going to be for the BE Digimon characters, but it's actually all of them. That's pretty handy, and each seem to have a different background depending on what universe the characters are in, like if it's Digimon or if it's Kamen Rider or Ultraman or etc. So that is pretty cool. Big fan of that new feature. So overall, I do like this update to the app. I do like the firmware update, but the app itself is still so slow. Every time you load a different page or a different screen on the app, it takes far too long for 2023. I can't remember the last time I had loading screens this long. And it's not like I have an old slow phone or anything. It just feels a little bit too slow. It feels like it needs to be tuned up just a little bit. And it's not just me. I've seen a lot of people on various parts of the internet complain about the overall speed of the app. So that's something that really needs to be worked on. But otherwise, it's a step in a good direction. I'm glad that I was able to get back into the app after I had the check with an A error. I think they've also corrected the spelling on check. It's no longer check, it's check. So that's cool. And again, hope that we get more updates like this, especially firmware updates. These are probably the things I'm looking forward to the most on the Vital Bracelet. These cool firmware updates, big fan of those. Of course, we also have the BE memories for I just call them the Savers Dims because that's what they are. It's Rise Greymon and Mac Galgamon, so that is really exciting because I love Savers. So we also have those that were released yesterday, so that's pretty exciting. But in any case, that's all in terms of news for the new updates for the moment. Depending on how big the other updates are for the rest of the Spring Festival, I might do another update wrap-up. There's meant to be the 25th Anniversary Cup, I think it's called, and there's meant to be some lobby that's opening up, so various features are coming to the app. Again, I was actually surprised that the update came out this month at all. It always said it was meant to be the last week of April, and it was the last Friday in April, so that tracked, but I was surprised that they didn't delay it because of how many bugs there have been and how many people did experience the check update. And it wasn't just me, it was just various people. So I'm glad that they seemingly fixed that issue. That's cool. But I hope that the app gets more improvements. In any case, that's all I have to say about this update. Let me know your thoughts, comments, and more in the comment section below. Like this video for the fact that I got my Digimon and characters back. Was pretty bummed about possibly having to start over because I spent hours and hours transferring the Digimon from the old app to the new app. And I also have the Digimon Con banner. I was kind of like, I really don't want to start over. So like this video for Bandai fixing that apparently. Subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have subscribed, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your enemies. And of course, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!